Basketball sickos, we're back. This is the No Ceilings NBA Draft Show. I'm your host today, Tyler Rucker. I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Metcalf. Metcalf, how are we doing?
Fantastic. We had a nice little weekend away at the cabin for July 4th. Saw some family, enjoyed the lake, beautiful weather, some fireworks, a terrified dog who hates fireworks. It was the whole package. Had a great time. How are we doing?
Doing good. We're breathing right now. I feel like we're getting the engines are back. Had some reconstruction. I feel like we're full force basketball mode. Summer League is here. It's been fantastic to start out. But Metcalf, we needed to do something else. We've got FIBA World Cup stuff to talk about. There's a lot of intriguing prospects making some splashes, or were making some splashes, and you wanted to do this episode. Full disclaimer before we start. I've been buried in Summer League. I've been going nuts about it, and Metcalf's been vice versa. You've been buried in FIBA, so we were like, hey, let's do this episode. I'll just be the dummy for the episode. I'm going to host it. I'm going to pick your mind and be like, hey, what do I need to watch when I do my film dive? And then we'll probably do a pod later this week, hopefully, and flip it, and I'll just talk about Summer League. So, Metcalf, World Cup, let's just get into it. Or do you need to do some house cleaning? You always stop me because I'm too excited. Any house cleaning? Are we good?
Yeah, I mean, we got to mention some stuff. Maxwell gave us a date for his first No Stone Unturned coming at the end of July or last week of July. Very excited for that. Always a really fun series. Track record on it. Pretty solid. And also, sir, you've been working quite a bit. You had a tape time go up today on VJ Edgecombe's Summer League debut. You have a Summer League preview coming out on Wednesday. Not you, because you have responsibilities. But Corey, myself, Nathan, and Nick, we're going to be at Summer League this year. So if you guys are out there, I get in late Wednesday. So I'll be at the games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, heading out Sunday. But if you're around, come say hi. We're friendly. We like to talk hoops, see what's up. So we'll be there and we'll have plenty of content. There's potentially some really fun opportunities in terms of content creation coming up, but nothing official yet, or at least that I feel comfortable enough to talk about. But those will be coming soon.
Yeah, little breadcrumbs there. Yeah, the guys will be at Summer League representing. Crushes me that I probably won't be out there unless I pull a miracle last second, but I'll be behind the scenes working. My Summer League TV guide I put out every year. It's pretty much the biggest, most of headaches I create this entire draft season. Once a year, I just lose my mind in it. I'm doing a preview of every single team, every roster, guys to look out for. So be on the look for that. Waiting for a couple teams to get off their butt and announce their rosters, but that should be out soon. And then, No Stone Unturned, we get very excited about around No Ceiling. So Maxwell's already been grinding. Honestly, won't shut up about it. We're really excited.
Cool, we get it.
We get it. You're really good at that piece. We get it. So everyone's excited for it. But that should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I think that's it. Yeah, the tape time's been great. I promised everyone after I got done with the draft guide, the YouTube videos were going to start rolling. I'm a man of my word. So, VJ looked good. I'm excited when Metcalf catches up for you to tell me what you thought, because
yeah,
you look fantastic.
Those numbers are fun. And just one last thing.
Yeah.
For anyone we don't get to in this pod, or if you're like, oh my God, you guys are idiots, how could you not have mentioned this guy? Don't worry, we'll also have a written recap where Ignacio, Jam, and myself will be diving into everyone. Those guys are smarter than me anyways. So keep an eye out for that over at NoCeilingsNBA.com.
That's why we love it. Yep, we're going to get plenty of comments of how did you not talk about the fourth guy on Slovenia. All right, Metcalf, a lot of big names for everyone that has been watching. These are always really important events because me and you have done the FIBA episodes in previous years. It's the first kind of you're dipping your toe into guys we're looking at for the upcoming college season, guys that we're also starting to keep our eye on for potential as international prospects this year, or guys that may be coming overseas. So I love doing the FIBA one with you because it is a really important episode that we can always look back on to be like, hey, we watched them here. We did an episode talking about Trey Johnson when he was playing FIBA, Asa Newell, all those guys. So coming into it, was it just, are you always kind of saying like, these are the specific guys I want to watch? Or is it just more of a, hey, let's put on the games and I'll see who I like. Obviously you're going to know the guys like AJ DeBonsa, Michael Brown. We're going to talk a lot about those guys, but what's your mentality going into this?
These are always some of my favorite events. obviously because it's in summer and it's the only thing going on in the basketball world. But whether it's a U17, U18, U19, whatever it is, it's always just a fun event to see these guys against different levels of competition with different types of teammates, with different coaches in a big tournament. Like I know it's like, oh, it's the U19 World Cup, but this stuff really matters, especially when these teenagers put on the jersey of their home country. It means a lot for a lot of these guys. And you can see that in a lot of the emotion. Now, these tournaments, USA has historically totally dominated, but there's always talent throughout the rest of the world that is really interesting to try and identify and try and find. So I'm in terms of how do I go into it? Obviously, you try and target the big name guys, where it's like, even what like watching Germany, we'll get to them later, but it's like, all right, I really excited to see Christian Andersen in this setting, but what else? Like they're obviously a good team. So who else is popping, and how are they winning these games, and who is stepping up to help out Anderson? And that kind of strategy of, all right, identify the main guy, obviously look for them, but then who else pops? Who else forces you to watch them and forces you to take notice? And for good or bad, that has tended to work out pretty well.
Yeah, it's one, and I said the disclaimer to start this. I'm a man of my word. I've watched like one game, so I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on this. I've seen a lot of these guys multiple times, but I wanted to do this for the guys fans out there that haven't watched, and you're wanting to hear like, hey, what was the buzz? I'm representing you today. I'm gonna talk to Metcalf because Metcalf's been a sicko watching all of these. And I want to hear kind of what you're doing and what you're thinking. And then I'm going to go watch these because I love to do it and see if I agree. Then I'll send you angry texts at 3 a.m. Like, what are you talking about? So let's start with the big guys. Unless you got any other final notes, let's start with Team USA. Yes, for everyone overseas, you're probably groaning right now. We're going to start with Team USA because there's a lot of big names on this roster. There's a lot of names I'm intrigued with that I think FIBA also is a great way for them to start generating some more buzz when, they're getting ready for the season, their draft stock, all that fun stuff. So let's start with the big one. AJ Devonta going to BYU, been one of the top prospects in high school basketball. He's hype machine. Everyone thinks he's going to be in the running for the number 1 pick. Just hit me with it. What were your thoughts? Let's run with this.
He was good. I was hoping for more, honestly. Right. I know he won MVP of the tournament. Didn't really get that. I thought that should have pretty easily been Michael Brown. But AJ was really good. It's reductive to say, but that's kind of all I got from it. None of it was as inspiring as how he looked at Hoop Summit 2 years ago. I thought he looked significantly better than he did at Hoop Summit this year. And everyone I talked to going into this tournament was like, oh my God, AJ was incredible during Team USA camp. Everyone, whether they were with a team, with media, whoever was there, could not stop gushing over how good he was at Team USA camp. And I don't know. It was fine. Now, if he wasn't being hyped as the number 1 guy, if his expectations weren't set so high for the last few years now, I'd probably be a little more encouraged about it because there's a lot of really good. But I didn't get that sense of, holy crap, this guy is unstoppable. He is dominant. The game against Canada was probably his best, where he had 22, 4, 3, 13 free throw attempts, really aggressive getting downhill. And when they pushed the pace, got him in the open court, and he was able to push in transition or attack from the second side, get downhill. He was really good. We're starting to see some better instances of him making that extra pass a little quicker, but there's not a whole lot of playmaking stuff. The passes seem to be his secondary read basically every time. And the jumper I have a lot of questions about, but the rim pressure the entire tournament was really good. And I really, really, really love how he's been defending recently. And as we kind of go into the next college season, I'm almost wondering if I need to reorient my expectations with him of being this dynamic, awesome on-ball scorer and more into a potential like elite defender with some really fun offensive tools.
That's where I'm getting at with AJ. Now, I've watched a little bit of the FIBA stuff, but I've seen him plenty. I've seen him at Hoop Summit for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years with you. And I've watched a lot of his stuff, weeks of practices. I'm getting on that same path with you. AJ is a phenomenal prospect. Like, I don't want anyone to take all this out of context when I'm talking about AJ, but every time I watch him, I feel like I'm like, okay, I need something. I need a little bit more, because you see him overpower people with the length. I thought he was going to look fantastic at an event like this because of his size, because of the athleticism, because of the tools. Like, he's playing with players his age. Like, I was like, okay, he's probably going to look great. AJ, as you mentioned, took home MVP honors. I was shocked when that happened.
Yeah.
I haven't watched all the games, but I was just shocked from what I watched and the numbers. He averaged 14.3 points, 4.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.1 steals, shot 50% from the field and 84%. If I'm wrong, Metcalf, let me know. It just seems like he's really good at, I don't know if the on-ball unbelievable creator, I think that's going to wake people up. I don't think it's there. I think he's a really good slasher and getting downhill when he has like a lane. AJ can cover ground in a hurry. I think the handle gets a little wide. And I'm worried about the shot. I really am.
It looks different every time. And one of the most consistent things about it is that he's releasing it on the way down and shooting a really flat ball. Like, he shot, like, the 84% you mentioned was from the free throw line.
Yes.
Averaged over 7 attempts a game. That's awesome. He shot 11% from 3 in the tournament.
I watched him at Hoop Summit for like 2 days straight, and it was wide open threes. No one playing, just shooting drills. And I was like, I've never seen a guy like the shot was just all over the place. I was like, man, and it's shooting on the way down. It's a big deal, and it's flat. So maybe you could tweak it. Maybe it'll improve. I still buy AJ's tools. I think it wouldn't shock me if we go to, college basketball and he's just dominating because reps, guys playing FIBA. Now they get to carry that over. He's going to be playing a lot, but
and he's going to be in an awesome situation with a really good point guard in Robert Wright too, and a dynamic scorer in Richie Saunders.
So I think he's got a good situation. But that's, if he buys in defensively, that's where I would get really excited. That's where I'm kind of excited you brought that up. So was there anything else with AJ that kind of, I get what you're saying about just like, well, he's good, but when you're getting hyped as the unbelievable prospect, I feel like you just have really high expectations, and I'm in that same boat. I'm like, maybe I need to be realistic real quick and reevaluate my expectations, like you put perfectly earlier. So is there anything else with you?
No, and I hope this didn't come off as us hating on AJ, because that's not the case at all. It's just more kind of rethinking who he is as a player and what his potential comps and expectations should be. And the more we see him, I'm more and more so thinking he's less of the KD, Paul George, Jason Tatum mold and more of the Jaden McDaniels, OG Anunoby, Jaylen Brown type mold, and those are obviously still incredible players and more than worthy of a top 3, 4, 5 pick wherever he ends up falling. I don't think he's going to fall out of the top 5 or anything, or top 3, maybe even. Who knows? Long season to go. But it's more so just reshaping expectations based on what he's been showing us over the last year.
Yeah, the Paul George one, I get it, and everyone's going to lean on that because of the way he moves and AJ's size and everything. But I still think
that's what I thought 2 years ago when we saw him at Hoops. I'm like, oh my God, this is T-Mac. This is Paul George. Like, this is this dynamic, awesome scorer. And if the playmaking develops, we're in for a world. But it almost feels like the shot has regressed. The playmaking hasn't grown, but the defense has gotten significantly better.
Which is great. I love how you put that. That's a really good development, because if he can lean on that while everything else comes together, then you're like, okay, wait a sec. We thought the offense was going to be like what he hangs his hat on. Now it's becoming an insane defender. So I get your Jaden McDaniels point, but like maybe then all of a sudden you can start to be patient with the offense, because just the handle and the creation, I think, needs just time. It's just loose, and I think he's going to have to really, because like everyone sleeps on Paul George from Fresno State, was a heck of a prospect. So I'm with you there. Really like AJ. He's still in my top 3. Where do you want to go next? Michael Brown? Is it that time?
Yeah.
He's a really bad man. I watched one of his games. I've watched a couple of Michael Brown games, and awesome, unbelievable. I think Metcalf. Tell me if I'm crazy. Is he now getting into that top 5, top 4?
Yeah. I know he's been 4 for me since Hoop Summit.
Love it. Go crazy. Let me know. Like, pump people up. Say like, hey, this isn't just hype. This is real. This is here. Michael Brown, get excited.
Louisville fans should be out of their fucking mind about what he's bringing next year. So on the tournament, average 14.9 points, 48.7 from the floor, 47.6 from 3, 82.4 from the line, 2.1 rebounds, 6.1 assists. He controlled everything. And even in games like their first game against Australia, he had 10 points, 3 for 14 shooting. He was still a plus 32 in the game because of impacting the game in so many different ways, sees the floor really well. When he gets hot, he is deadly. And really good athlete too, has awesome bounce, some legit stuff on defense too, not super consistent, but given what he does on the offensive end, playing on and off ball, there's really not much to not fall in love with this kid.
So Louisville, he was listed at 6'3" by ESPN as a recruit. Louisville, I love team website measurements. Metcalf, I love.
Is he like 6'7"?
He's 6'5", 180. Now I would buy the 6'5". He looks taller than 6'3" to me. We saw him in person. Maybe he's had a little bit of a growth. I didn't think he was a midget. I thought he was very skinny in person.
Yeah, and he felt like a teenager who's still growing.
Yes.
Like 6'3" barefoot wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, so if we're getting at 6'4" with his bounce, he's incredible. His shot's gorgeous. He's a pull up from the parking lot type of threat. The feel, the composure, the tight window quickness just pops to me. He just looks like oh my gosh, we need to somehow get Michael Brown. Like, that's the type of guard you want. He's smart. Now I think he's starting to really get nasty as a scorer from this FIBA play. Like, because when we saw him in Portland, I was like, man, he's smart. He knows how to play the game. Like, it was just like, oh, this is perfect. If he can just unlock some scoring. And I think the confidence you're starting to see is cooking now for him. So what else did you like with his game? Anything else?
Just the dynamic shot making. I'm not saying he is this guy, but a lot of his game really felt Damian Lillard-esque. Now I don't take that for a 1-for-1 or that he's the next Dame, but like when you see him just like casually pull up or shoot off the catch from the logo, and then just knife his way to the rim, and then out of nowhere have this huge dunk on someone, and it's like, oh my god, like where is this coming from? And it's just really, really fun. So, and he's shifty, he's smart, he anticipates passing lanes, he manipulates off-ball defenders. The shooting range is unlimited, it seems like. I've stopped putting expectations on what his game could look like next year. Obviously, there will be some struggles, there'll be some lulls, there'll be some cold patches, but he just even when the shot isn't falling, he keeps finding ways to make winning plays in other areas of the game. And doing that this young, really special, really exciting.
Yeah, I there's one thing to be a guard that can handle it a little bit or pull up from deep, but his change of gears is what got my attention in Portland. And now in FIBA, it's like, oh, he's figuring out how to pair them all together. So now I'm like, this is getting really dangerous in a hurry. Louisville fans, as Metcalf said, yes, you should be very, very excited. Give me some other Team USA guys you liked. Koa Pete, where do you want to go next?
You tell me. Who are you curious about?
Koa Pete. I want to know about Koa Pete. I watched one game and I said Koa Pete's just a bully. I'm an Arizona fan. I feel like quickly I found out watching the first FIBA game I paid attention to that I was like, okay, Koa's just going to bully ball this event. And you guys at No Ceilings are getting excited. All of you guys that have been watching pretty closely. I've just been buried on Summer League stuff. Sell me on Koa Pete. Get me excited because I already am getting excited, but he just looked fantastic to me.
I'm not the highest on him,
There we go. You always break my heart.
He was terrific. He was really good in this tournament. And I came away more excited and more intrigued with him than going into it. The physicality that he plays with, the interior scoring, the mid-range jumper looked good. All of that stuff is like, holy crap. And he is going to be a nightmare for college defenders to deal with, just with how physical he is, both on the boards, on defense, attacking the rim out of the short roll, cutting. And then the mid-range jumper looks smooth. It looks comfortable. It was a disaster against Canada. He was 3 for 13 in that game. But the rest of the tournament, I mean, he was 48.8% from 2-point range, didn't take a single three. And that's where I get a little worried about, all right, I think he's going to be really good for Arizona next year, but I'm a little skeptical on how it all translates up to the next level. Because there isn't much playmaking instincts. The defensive playmaking in terms of jumping passing lanes, rotating over as a weak side shot blocker, really solid. But some of it was also a step or two late where he's then committing unnecessary fouls. So I love the tools. I think he's a really good player. I think he's going to put up awesome numbers at Arizona next year. But when we talk about him potentially translating to the NBA, I still think there are a lot of areas that he has to improve on significantly.
Is there like a pro comp that's shades of that? You're like, is this Aaron Gordon?
I think that'd be the hope. Yeah.
Okay.
But when we look back at Aaron Gordon at this stage, there's way more ball skills, passing, on ball creation, shot creation, scoring versatility in his game. But I think but also a lot of that may have been the role that he kind of had to play given the on ball dominance of Michael, AJ, and all those guys.
Okay. All right. Fine, Metcalf. Of course, my cheat sheet with everyone on it now won't open. So, hit me up. Some other USA guys. Give me some standouts from you.
Jasper Johnson.
Jasper. I like Jasper. Come on.
I was underwhelmed. I didn't get it.
Oh gosh, dang it!
I like the off ball scoring. I like the off ball shot. Jumper's smooth, silky smooth. And again, this might be just the role he had to play coming off the bench, and playing with other more pure point guards who dominated the ball. His role, his situation just didn't feel great. And I feel like we just got a sliver of what he's capable of. So I didn't think he had a great tournament. He wasn't bad. He wasn't good. He was just kind of there. So I'm not taking it too seriously, but I was hoping for more going in.
I told everyone I saw him last year at not Nike Hoop Summit, at Formula Zero, and kind of felt the same way the whole week. And then the last game, he was playing against like Asa and VJ Edgecombe. I think they were on the same team. And Jasper just lit up and was like giving everyone the business. And I was like, there's something here. So I'm very, very patient with him. But the game I saw when he was giving VJ and everyone the business, it was like he was pulling up from like 5 feet. He was just red hot. So I'm like, this is either something that's here, or this was just like the perfect game that you're dreaming of as like a basketball player growing up, that you're like, oh, I can't miss, and I'm dominating. So I just always have liked Jasper, but I know what you're saying. Like, I feel like I want him to kind of come out of his skin a little bit more. Like, I feel like he gets a little like, okay, I'm good, just going through the motions, but really talented. Okay, I got my sheet back up. We got some fans in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Midday. Caleb Holt, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, we can talk about the next year guys.
Yeah.
The youngsters.
Because we have to always remind folks, like, yes, this also is guys that are going to be playing in college basketball, but there's also a lot of times guys that are about to be seniors. So, and some big names that were on this roster.
Yeah. So the youngsters on this team were Caleb Holt, Jordan Smith Jr., Tyrone Stokes, and Brandon McCoy. Brandon McCoy didn't play much. He looked like the youngster of the group. So whatever. It is what it is. There's always at least one of those guys. Caleb Holt specifically, I didn't really get it the first couple of games, but then every single game, you just watch him do a lot of the little stuff, be an off-ball scorer, push in transition, make the right decision, make the right play on both ends of the floor, and he just continued to grow on me. So still pretty unpolished as a player. A lot of refining that needs to go on with his handle, the playmaking, all that kind of stuff. Typical for someone his age, but really came away pretty excited about what his senior year in high school could look like. That's wild to say. The big standout though from that group, Jordan Smith Jr. was freaking incredible. Freakish athletic tools, insane defender. Spot up jumper was kind of all over the place. Sometimes good, sometimes it's like, oh, watch out. Not a whole lot of on-ball creation stuff, but the defense, the off-ball scoring potential, the transition offense, all looked really, really fun. And someone who a couple agents were texting me about were like, he might be like a top 2 guy in his class. So very curious to see how that jumper and the offensive tools continue to grow. But as a defender, he may have been the best defender on the court whenever he was out there. Tyron Stokes grew on me a little bit. But at the same time, he also kind of feels like a guy who just could always dribble and then grew a lot quicker than everybody else around him. And that bully ball sign, he had a very good tournament and it improved as it went on. But that sense of that combination of physicality and ball skills and rim pressure and driving and agility is incredibly valuable in a tournament like this, coming off the bench where a lot of teams don't even have one guy who's built like that, who can do that kind of stuff. So still in wait and see mode with him, but I know there have been rumors about him reclassifying. I hope he doesn't. He just feels like a guy who needs to continue to play and refine some of those smaller things in his game, like the processing speed, passing. The shot still needs work. So, yeah.
Yeah, for everyone that's trying to get a little bit caught up on this, Stokes is number 1 recruit for next year's class. Jordan Smith, I'm just going off of ESPN's number 3. And Stokes was one of those guys that he has been buzzing over the last couple of months. People were like, oh, could this be a reclassified guy to join? I think those guys are always like, he could because he's the number 1 guy, but let's see if he's ready. And then it came kind of quick. Like people were like, maybe not ready. And then he had a big performance, but I think it was in a game that they were winning by like 50. Then he had like an insane.
He had like a triple double or quadruple double or something against Jordan, who they beat by 70.
Okay. Shout out to Jordan.
Jordan was a tough watch. Congrats on making the tournament, but
yeah, sorry, but shout out to Jordan. And then Jordan Smith, who Metcalf was talking about, he's 3rd in the recruiting, but he was the name that everyone's been buzzing about immediately. I think he was even named like best defensive player for the whole tournament. So that's a fun one. Anyone else with Team USA, red, white, and blue before we move on?
Yeah, two names. One I was really underwhelmed by. We loved him at Hoop Summit.
Oh, no.
Nicholas Kamenia.
Oh no, Kamenia! You're hurting me.
He was one of the guys who got buried. He wasn't bad, but he got buried in the rotation. Spot up jumper looked fine, but just didn't get it with him for most of the tournament. Didn't look like he had chemistry with anyone else out there, and was just part of the bench mob units, unfortunately. Very different showing than what we saw at Hoop Summit. So I think he's still going to be awesome at Duke this year, but tough showing.
So Jason Tatum at the Olympics. Shout out to Steve Kerr.
And then last one, Miraz Johnson Jr. He was awesome. The strength, the athleticism, the physicality, the motor, insane, awesome on the boards, really good around the rim. Some of the defensive versatility stuff, the way he moves in space is special, and that motor never stops running. Unfortunately, the speed that he processes the game, he's just like running a million miles an hour all the time, and just need him to take a deep breath, slow it down a little bit, get a little under control. And once that happens, once that switch flips, it's gonna be like, holy cow, there's some really fun stuff with him. So again, we talked about Louisville fans, Duke fans, all these guys being excited. I think Michigan fans should be very excited about him transferring in as well.
It was another name that's been buzzing for good reason. So I love that. But we love high motor guys. We always have to prefer if we have to tell them to slow down. Okay. Where are we going? Germany? Let's do it. Germany had couple names that have been buzzing. One name is going to be a returner in college basketball. A lot of fans at No Ceilings, a lot of fans in the college basketball world. I think a lot of people are intrigued. Christian Anderson, let's talk about him. So was a 6'2" guard. He was listed at 6'2" last year, thin. Did some really impressive stuff for Tech. and was looking like the potential breakout darling for the draft space. And he was buzzing for this tournament for Germany. So what did you think?
Terrific. He was so much fun. He is one of my favorite returners coming into this year. I thought he was going to be in for a big season based on what we saw from him as a freshman at Tech. And this all but confirmed that for me. He was incredible. And he got to run more of that true point guard role that he didn't get to at Tech last year because Elijah Hawkins, who is a really good college point guard, took those minutes. But Christian Anderson was still good enough last year as a freshman where they still had to play him. So he was playing more of that off-ball two guard. And with Germany, he was running the show. And it was terrific. 17.3 points, 6.6 rebound or assists, 4.9 rebounds, 1.6 steals, 43% from the floor, 35% from three. He was really, really good. The outside shot came and went. Some games he was really hot. Some games he was struggled a little more, but it was more so the playmaking and the on-ball pick and roll creation that really stood out. The way that he would snake through the defense, use physicality, put guys in jail, get to his spots. Toy would drop defenders. It was really, really impressive.
Every time I watch him, I get more excited, and it's to dangerous levels for next year. But I love that you're hyping it up and feeding the beast right now. What's like something with his game that you're like, hey, I really want this to develop next year? Because I feel like he could be a name that starts to buzz a little bit in this class. If you're trying to start getting involved in the 26 class, I will say personally, there's a drop for freshmen after a while. There's a drop where you're like, oh, it could get ugly.
It's not that far.
But there's going to be some returners that I think could make up for that. So Anderson's one of these names I'm eyeing. I was like, oh, he could be a riser. What are you looking for him next year?
The shot really has to be consistent because at 6'2", you have to be an awesome shooter. I think a lot of that comes with strength for him, further developing that core strength and just getting more consistent. He doesn't have to be 44% from three, but if he's like 37, 38% on high volume, and he was at 7.3 3-point attempts per game this tournament, if he's anywhere near that at 38%, yes, sign me up, sign me all the way up. But it's the outside shooting consistency paired with just that continued strength gain that we see from all sophomores. So I'm assuming that he's probably headed back to Tech soon and jumping straight in the weight room. It'll be really interesting to see how the scoring continues to translate and grow and hopefully improve given the inevitable super high uptick in on-ball creation responsibilities. It's really hard to scale both of those things at the same time. So seeing how those two conflicting forces pair themselves is what I'm most intrigued by. But even though he's a little more slender in frame, and he's still boxing out on rebounds, getting into the paint, playing through contact, being physical, and really showcasing some fun stuff.
I have to pause the FIBA breakdown because we have a Shams bomb. Breaking news. Orlando Magic star Paulo Banchero has agreed to a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension. Could reach 287. Mike Miller gets a shout out of Lift Sports. So there you go. Shout out to Magic fans. Paulo, Stan,
good for him.
Orlando. Okay, now back to the fun stuff. Metcalf. I have to say this to everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to pronounce some names wrong. Here
Same.
we go.
This is where it gets a little
I'm
tricky.
It's
not intentional, everyone. We apologize in advance.
And the Germany crowd in the comments is pumped up right now. So here we go. Hannes Steinbach. Did I say it right? Is it Hans? Is it Hannes?
I heard the announcer say Haynes, Hans, and Hannes.
Okay, Haynes. I'm going to go Haynes. Haynes World. Haynes Steinbach going to Washington. Everyone's been talking about him. What did you think?
Stud.
Stud Steinbach is what we're going to call him from now on.
Washington should be ecstatic. And he's going to fit perfectly in Big Ten play. The physicality, the combination of ball skills, agility, rebounding, and he had multiple games with over 15 rebounds Averaged 13 throughout the tournament, 17.4 points, 72% on 2-point field goals with almost 2 assists a game. I think there's some fun passing stuff out of the short roll, out of offensive rebounds. Accuracy needs to get a little better, but the vision and the intent is there, which is really encouraging. The shot wasn't there at all. He was kind of willing, but there were some nasty air balls. But the combination of agility, mobility, physicality, strength, rebounding, and work rate are really fun. And then being able to pair all those physical tools into insane production in terms of interior finishing, and rebounding, and just really solid defense. He was one of my most pleasant surprises in this tournament.
Steinbach and Christian Andersen from Germany both made the All-Star 5. From USA, Michael Brown and AJ Demancia were on that. Slovenia had Zach Schmecker, and I'm going to go that I pronounced that perfectly. Anyone else for Germany, or you want to go next team?
Yeah, we got to talk about UConn incoming freshman who we saw at
Reeby.
Eric Reeby. Good tournament. I am a little worried about the lack of physicality with him. The play finishing versatility, the pick and pop, short roll, post scoring stuff, really good scoring touch. That's all really fun. Had some great defensive flashes. He gets moved really easily. And a lot of those concerns that we talked about during those Hoop Summit recaps showed up as well. So I am worried about how realistic is it that he can just play that pure 5. I worry he might be a little, I'm not going to say the S word, but you can infer as you will. But the two big pairings of him and Terrace Reed should be pretty fun. So I like him. There's a lot of intrigue with him. I also think he's probably going to be a multi-year guy in college and needs to get a little tougher, play with a little more physicality, and be able to fight through some of that stuff a little more consistently.
Yeah, I feel like when I watched him the first time in person, I was like, multiple years at college. It's okay though, but he seemed like a player that he could play. I just feel like he needs some seasoning. Point me in the direction, because I got a lot of names. Which team do you want to talk about next?
Let's bounce to the rest of the world, and I want you to ask me who you're curious about.
I'm gonna go all over. So I'm curious about a lot of names, so I'm gonna go all over. I want to talk about Jacob Furphy.
Okay.
He's going to UConn. Was with Team Australia. What did you think? People were buzzing. I saw Furphy's name thrown around, and I was like, okay.
He was fun. He was shooting the crap out of it. Tough, scrappy lefty, and who doesn't love those? Yeah. But there's some really fun passing and playmaking stuff with him, and he's also headed to UConn.
Next
year. The shooting alone was like, holy crap, this is fun. But then we see some of the connective passing stuff, and I think he's going to be able to fill into that Liam McNeely, Alex Caravan, Cam Spencer type of role. Sorry to just go with straight white guys there.
Yeah, nice. Good job.
Yeah, not my favorite, but I've done better. But the spot up shooting, and then the ability to also attack closeouts, create out of DHOs, create for teammates, have that passing vision is really fun. When he gets to the rim, gets a little inconsistent there, needs to be better as a finisher, but there are a lot of tools where it's like, oh, this should translate to Hurley's system pretty seamlessly.
Talk to me about Mr. Dash Daniels, who I feel like the buzz has really cooled in a hurry. We didn't get to see him at Hoop Summit. He was banged up. We found out, I think, like 10 minutes after we landed, all of us, that
I got to see him for a little bit.
Oh, you did?
The first practice, and then he pulled his hammy or something like halfway through that first practice.
And you told me the first practice, you were like, right? You were like, he's okay.
But I feel like there's some fun playing with speed and getting to the rim stuff. I don't get it.
Okay. You're not the only one. There's a lot of people.
28% from the field overall, and the shot is funky. The mechanics are kind of gross. I think the handle's overrated. Some of the defensive stuff is really fun, but it's also pretty inconsistent. I personally don't get it because I don't know how he scores at all. And the playmaking isn't to a level where it's like a Taron Armstrong, where it's like, holy crap, you are carving up defenses, even though you can't score. So there's still some of that value. I think the defense is going to have to take a major leap up, and the finishing is going to have to take a major leap up. Again, really feels like a multi-year guy if he ever comes over, but that path for him, I think, is probably along the Dante Exum type of development, that Chris Dunn type of development, but the defensive consistency is going to have to take a major, major leap. And he's also not as big as those guys, unfortunately.
I mean,
he's listed at 6'5", so once he fills out, maybe.
He averaged 8.3 and 2.9 assists. He shot 28% from the field.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob. Okay. But because Dash has been one of those hype prospects. I know he's Dyson's brother, but like it's terrifying how close they look.
They do.
They look like just cloned.
Yeah.
It's like, I know when people are brothers, like, oh, you guys must look like brothers, but these ones are like the exact same.
But like
I was like, that's Dyson. Actually, he's trying to play at Hoop Summit.
Yeah, and if they weren't brothers, I'm not sure Dash would be on the team, unfortunately.
Great.
But the point guard who actually did intrigue me a little bit was Alexander Dixon. Not sure he's ever an NBA guy, but some of the rim pressure stuff, really lanky, needs to fill out, get a lot stronger. The outside shot isn't there, but some of the playmaking stuff, the defensive stuff with him was pretty fun. And then the only other guy on Australia was Roman Silepa. Apologies on pronunciation. He is just a physical freak. I believe he's a rugby guy.
Insane. He looks like a rugby guy.
He's like the Australian Aduthiero.
I love that comment. I'm gonna have to pull up a photo for the YouTube army. This is a rugby guy if I've ever seen one. You can see this is pretty great. I mean, that's a rugby guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fantastic. You were a fan, not an NBA guy.
I don't think he's an NBA guy because
just a lot of heart.
He can't shoot it at all, and there's almost no passing.
We got even a comment. Is he legit or is he just a physical monster?
I think he's just a physical monster.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean it's not effective in some instances. And he was incredible getting downhill, drew a ton of fouls, a menace on defense, awesome in transition. Not totally sure it translates to the NBA though.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's see what else I got here. Metcalf. Oh, we'll take a break for the pod. I'll mark that note. Okay. But I like to keep the party rocking. So, all right, Metcalf. So talk to me about, gosh, I got a lot of names. Where do I want to go here with you? Dayan Nissa from Switzerland. I pay attention when you tell me guys you're excited about. I'm trying to throw you off. Why is he fun? Tell me. Amazing name.
A little bit of a do-it-all wing. Trying to find his numbers here real quick, but the size, physicality, relentlessness on both ends of the floor was wild. And I'd never heard of this guy coming into this tournament. Going to George Washington University.
17-9 on, am I seeing this right? 44, 51, 63?
Yeah.
With 1.4 steals and 3.4 assists. What the heck am I looking at right here?
This dude rocked. He was so much fun. And the defense felt legit. The spot-up jumper was on low volume, obviously a real threat. But the rim pressure and the passing with him was really incredible. So
GW? Here we go. Sleeper City?
Like him and Steinbeck were the two where I was like, who are you? Where have you been all my life? I'm in love. George Washington feels like they they
Struck
might
the
get
lottery?
a dude. Yeah, they might have a dude because and it wasn't just slashing for the sake of slashing. When he got there, he was a good finisher, but then there's also the passing instincts and the playmaking vision where he was setting guys up for really good looks. I've been debating doing a whole film school breakdown on him, and I might have to because he was
Dude, don't debate it.
that
Just
much
do
fun.
it. Yes.
Well, I
just
got to
do
do it
it
on like 12 guys, so I'm going to Vegas in 2 days, so who knows if I have time, but I'm hoping to because he was that much fun.
He had 22, 15, and 5 against France.
Yeah, he was like the reason they upset France. That France
And
team was
7 turnovers. That's the
know,
best game I've ever seen.
Hey, if you're giving me 22, 15, and 5,
Yeah, you're okay.
yeah,
you can turn it over a couple times.
I'm gonna let that happen. Gonna let that slide.
Oh man. All right, that's good. No, I like this because we also is there any world in which he's just a oh my gosh, he's a one and done awesome, or is this a unbelievable and then transfers up?
That the latter would be my initial guess,
but I'm still gonna be excited to watch.
Yeah, because like
GW.
I'm still a little gonna be GW's biggest fan now. I'm still a little skeptical on the outside shot. It there's not a whole lot of diversity in his shot selection. The movement, the pull up stuff was a little inconsistent. It looked solid off the catch, spotting up, but I'm gonna need a bigger sample size.
Okay. How about my boy Omer Meyer?
Awesome.
Is it Mayer or Meyer? I always say
Mayer.
Dang it, Tyler. Omer Meyer.
So and he dropped like 33 against Cameroon, and the way he operates a pick and roll is really fun. We saw more of that one-handed whip pass just on a dime stuff that we saw at Hoop Summit. Really smart player. And then the jumper looked pretty legit. Excuse me. Especially in that Cameroon game where a high pick and roll, if they were playing drop coverage, he would just get to the elbow with ease, pull up, knock it down over and over again, hit a couple off the catch. I think his fit with Purdue next year with Braden Smith is going to be really fun because they're going to have a legit lead point guard who can get his own, create for others, play defense when Braden Smith isn't on the floor, make his life a little easier. But then he also has the tools and the IQ and the feel and the size to play off ball with Braden Smith. And I think those two attacking and dissecting defenses and getting paint touches and collapsing and forcing those scramble situations is going to be really, really difficult for college defenders to deal with possession after possession after possession. So not perfect. The shooting consistency still comes and goes a little bit. The rim pressure, the ability to create space without a screen isn't really there. Not an overly dynamic ball handler. And I do have some concerns about the at-rim finishing, but the vast majority of his game is incredibly fun.
He shocked the crap out of us in Portland, all of us at Hoop Summit, because one, he's very professional with how he carries himself. His frame looks like a disaster to have to deal with.
He's built like a fire hydrant.
He's built. That's a good one. I'm trying to always work on my swearing, but he's built like a brick shit house, and he's stocky. He's competitive as shit. And then you saw, or Cameroon, he went berserk. I know you just mentioned it. He had 33, 5, 7, and 4 steals. Pretty good. And he has like an and one in one of those games where he's just screaming at the top of his lungs, where it's just like, oh man, you had some demons to unlock this game. But that's just the type of player he is. Like, he is competitive as heck. I love that he's going to Purdue. I think it's a heck of a get. I think Purdue fans are going to be pumped out of their mind. I think him and Braden Smith can play together because they're just both really smart with good size. I like Mayer's shot a lot. I was like, gosh, it's gorgeous. Like, immediately when he started shooting around before we even sat down, I was like, Mayer's shot's gorgeous. So it's just consistent. It's good rotation. So I'm very pumped that he had a good little outing. I had some names here too that you told me about. You were excited about Tyler Kropp. We have to
Yeah,
talk about Tyler's, especially when we could get excited
we should have
because we're
led the
both
show with him.
Tylers. Yeah, we should have started off the Tyler hour. What's going on? Tyler Crop from Argentina, correct?
Going to Northwestern.
I love guys having big. They're just going to small school. Let's get pumped about it. Northwestern, okay.
So I
Small schools,
believe he led the tournament in scoring with 21.7 a game on 57 from the floor, 57 from three, just 2 attempts per game. But 82.6% from the line on 6.5 attempts per game, 9.7 rebounds, 1.9 assists, combined stock per game. He feels, when you look at Brooks Barnheiser and Martinelli, he feels like, oh, yeah, he's going to fit right in with what Northwestern asks from their forwards. Just really tough, really physical, good interior finisher. Draws a ton of fouls, really good cutter, and finding space in that short roll, those open areas around the elbow, in the lane. I think the shot looks workable long term. Obviously, he's definitely a multi-year college guy, but purely a play finisher at this point. But just that the overall production from him was really shocking.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier. I think he led the tournament points per game. So, what else you got? A couple of names. Like, hit me with some quick hitters. What are you thinking here?
Yeah,
obviously we talk about it a lot, but I'm just trying to see who you kind of.
Yeah, Canada had a couple guys who were intriguing. Tristan Beckford, I believe, going to South Florida. Really fun defender. Jumped passing lanes a lot, moved his feet well, and then really good getting downhill. The shot needs work, the playmaking needs work, but just a fun, toolsy guard who was really who made life just really difficult for his opponent on either end of the floor, given his motor, energy, all that kind of stuff. Efiosa Olagu. Apologies.
I'm just making you talk. Yeah, I'm making you talk, so you have to say all of them bad.
Going to Butler, he was probably, I think he was Canada's best player. Similar, just really impressive physical tools, great frame, really explosive, strong, plays with a sense of physicality that's difficult, especially when smaller defenders get switched onto him. Competitive defender, really good rebounder. He had this one tip dunk that was freaking insane. I shared it on Twitter, but he crashed in from the opposite wing, jumped, had his eyes like level with the rim, caught it underhanded above his head, and then turned it over and dunked it with one hand.
I think I remember you posting that now.
It was one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive, physical just display of physical tools in the entire tournament. And then Spencer Aarons, I believe, for Canada, going to Boise State, tall forwards, kind of a stretch four type of mold. Good rebounder, smart passer. The spot up shot at times looked absolutely lethal. Athleticism isn't all that great, but some fun complementary skill sets there for him.
I only watched the USA France game, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were. I feel like France had a couple guards that I was really like, huh. You know, when you get intrigued with an international guy that's not coming overseas and you're like, right, let me look and please be young and please be like, oh, someone I got to keep an eye on. So was there anyone that, like, I thought Mark Owen, Fadzo Dada, I can't wait for France to get pissed at me about that. Had some flashes. They had another guard that I'm just blanking off the top of my head. I'm trying to look at the roster, but
yeah,
I just feel like in that game I was like, oh, there's some stuff here.
Johan Sissoko was kind of fun. Some of the playmaking with him was really good. The defense rocked the entire time. Just no shot and really passive as a scorer. Just rarely looked to get his own, even when he got into the paint, which kind of made him a little too easy to defend, unfortunately. Noah Hugh. Apologies on pronunciation. I believe he just committed to the NBL Rising Stars.
Oh, yes, he did.
He was probably their best player. Some really awesome defensive stuff with him. Good rebounder and similar slashing, rim pressure, interior scoring stuff. Athletic tools are awesome, but not pretty rudimentary as an on-ball creator. The playmaking comes and goes, the scoring comes and goes, but the physical tools and the defense with him are a blast. And then Talis Solak, again, apologies on pronunciation, but similar, just fun slasher, some intriguing scoring stuff, some really fun passing stuff with him, but no one on that team could really shoot. And this is unfortunately one of the worst France teams I think that we've probably seen since we started No Ceilings, unfortunately.
Oh, great. I have one more guy I want to ask you about. We can wrap it up, and then if you have any other names, you can throw them off. But I want to bring up someone that average. He had 8 blocks. Against Canada.
Yeah,
he averaged 5 blocks through the game.
This is my guy,
Sinan Huan from China.
Monster.
7-1 monster. His box score is unbelievable. He had 8 blocks against Canada. Germany had 4. New Zealand, correct me if I'm wrong, he had 6.
Yeah,
Jordan, he had 5. He had almost every game he had 4 or 5 blocks. What's going on?
He was so much fun. Yeah, I tweeted out a compilation of his blocks today, and they're legit. Like he moves his feet pretty well in drop coverage, good weak side rim protection with him too. The funniest part was their opening game against Canada. He starts along, and then Canada throws out Olivier Roux to start as well. And I'm like, man, this China center isn't that tall. And then it's like, oh wait, no, Roux is like 7'8", and I just had to like recalibrate the brain as like, oh, wait, no, this dude's actually 7'1". He's big. But he was really, really fun defensively. Some solid games with interior finishing. I'm not sure what, if anything else, there is to his game, but the rim protection with him was a blast.
So he's just a gigantic human that loves to block shots and doesn't really need touches offensively?
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, and I think he moves his feet pretty well, like in drop coverage and rotating from the weak side. So I wish some of the rebounding numbers were a little better, but when you're averaging 5 blocks a game, I'll forgive it a little bit. But he was a pleasant surprise.
I love that. And he's 63% from the line. We might have something here, folks. Also, one of the best photos for FIBA. Like he looks terrifying in that photo. That's great. Okay, great. Metcalf, any other names? This was a fun one. I'm glad I didn't watch because now I'm even more excited to go back and watch some of these games. But is there any other names you think just deserve a quick little shout out or anyone?
I'm surely missing plenty. And again, make sure to go over to noceilingsnba.com where Ignacio, Jam, and I will have a recap, and I'm guaranteed that those guys will touch on anyone that I may have missed. But 2 guys from the Dominican Republic, Lucas Murillo and Fernando de los Santos, lanky, athletic wings. Murillo put up some really fun scoring numbers, and he can get hot in a hurry. Was fun slashing, getting downhill, good rebounder, jumping passing lanes, and some pretty intriguing playmaking stuff with him as well. Finishing consistency, a little bit chaotic. Ball security needs some work, but at that size, some of the scoring and playmaking stuff with him was a blast. And then De Los Santos had some really solid rebounding games, and as an off-ball shooter was pretty intriguing as well.
Love that. I've got nothing else unless you're good.
That's all.
That's perfect. We almost did under an hour. This is perfect. Thank you for everyone joining us on a Monday. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a lot of really fun stuff to announce, working on some stuff behind the scenes that's going to be very big news, hopefully. But we finished right before Summer League's about to tip off for tonight. We got some Summer League games. Go check them out. Thunder Sixers is about to tip in a little bit. We're going to try to get the guys are going to Summer League in Las Vegas. Like we said, go say hi. We're not mean. We promise. We're just like we look like on YouTube. We're the same way in person. We just love to talk hoops. So come talk to the guys. They'll hang out with you, tell you who they really, really liked in the draft. All all that fun stuff. But I'll have my summer league preview piece is going to go up Wednesday. I'm hoping that I get to go see now that the teams released their final rosters. I'm looking at you, Celtics, Clippers, and Raptors. What else, Metcalf? Anything else? I'll have a couple more tape times. I'm probably one after these 2 games tonight. I'm going to try to figure out who I want to do next.
We're hoping to be back Wednesday night live previewing Summer League. We'll see what my travel arrangements allow, but
yeah, that one's a fun
figure
one.
it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll do something. We might do it late night.
We'll have plenty of content from Summer League.
Yes.
But
it'll be good times, and then I'll be doing some stuff behind the scenes. But for now, I'm Tyler Rucker with Tyler Metcalf. Thanks for joining us. You guys stay safe out there. We'll be talking to you plenty the next couple of months about basketball. Love you guys. Thanks.